Deadliest caliber is one of those phrases that sounds simple until you actually try to define it. Is it raw energy? Is it penetration? Is it what looks the most impressive on paper? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. What makes a revolver caliber effective in the real world is almost never what people think it is. Some cartridges look incredible on paper, but are hard to control. Some feel manageable, but don't perform the way people expect. And some sit right in the middle, quietly doing everything well without getting attention. So when we talk about the deadliest calibers, we're not talking about hype. We're talking about real-world performance, how these rounds behave out of actual revolvers with real shooters under real conditions. And once you understand that, you'll start looking at caliber choices very differently. Revolver calibers don't exist in isolation. They're tied to barrel length, gun weight, recoil characteristics, and most importantly, the shooter, because what works on the range doesn't always translate under stress. And this is where experienced shooters think differently. They don't chase the biggest number. They look for balance, control, consistency, penetration, all working together. So as we go through these 5 calibers, you'll notice something. Each one has strengths, but also very real trade-offs. And the one at number 1 is not what most people expect. Number 5. 38 Special Plus P, the quiet performer. The 38 Special Plus P doesn't get much attention when people talk about power. It's often seen as entry-level or a compromise. But here's where things start to change. In real-world revolver use, especially in compact guns, 38 Special Plus P offers something many larger calibers struggle with: control. The recoil is manageable. The trigger can be worked consistently, and follow-up shots are faster. Now, compared to Magnum rounds, it produces less energy. That part is true, but energy alone doesn't define effectiveness, because if a shooter can place accurate shots quickly, that changes everything. This is why many experienced shooters still rely on it, especially in small revolvers. But here's the trade-off. It requires good ammunition selection, because performance depends heavily on bullet design. Some loads expand well, others prioritize penetration, and this is where understanding the system matters, because what looks weaker on paper can perform very effectively when used correctly. Number 4. 44 Special, control with heavy bullet performance. The 44 Special sits in an interesting position. It doesn't have the extreme velocity of Magnum cartridges, but it uses heavier bullets, and that changes how it performs. Instead of relying on speed, it relies on mass, and that creates a different kind of energy transfer. Now, in medium to large revolvers, the recoil is more manageable than people expect. It's more of a push than a snap, and that makes it easier to control compared to 44 Magnum. But here's where expectations and reality diverge, because while it performs well, it doesn't produce the same numbers as higher pressure cartridges, and that leads people to underestimate it. But in real-world use, especially at defensive distances, it can be very effective, because again, control and placement matter more than raw numbers. Number 3. 45 Colt, old design, real-world effectiveness. The 45 Colt has been around for a long time, and because of that, people often underestimate it. But here's what most people don't realize. In modern revolvers, this cartridge can perform very differently than its original design. It uses a large bullet, moderate velocity, and creates strong penetration potential. Now, compared to Magnum cartridges, recoil is often more manageable, especially in properly sized revolvers. But here's where things get interesting. Performance varies significantly depending on the load. Some loads are mild, others are much stronger, and this creates a wide range of behavior. So when people talk about 45 Colt, they're often not talking about the same thing. This is why experienced shooters pay attention to specific loads, not just the caliber itself, because the same cartridge can behave very differently, depending on how it's loaded. Number 2. 357 Magnum, the balance most people recognize. The 357 Magnum is one of the most widely respected revolver calibers, and for good reason. It offers a strong balance between power and versatility, higher velocity than most revolver cartridges, good penetration, and the ability to use 38 Special for training. And this is where it stands out. Flexibility, one platform, multiple load options. But here's the reality most people only discover after shooting it extensively. In smaller revolvers, recoil becomes a major factor, sharp, fast, and demanding. Follow-up shots slow down, control becomes more difficult, and this is where expectations shift. Because while the cartridge is powerful, its effectiveness depends on how well the shooter can manage it. This is why many experienced shooters adjust their approach. They choose loads they can control, not just the most powerful option available. Number 1, 44 Magnum, power that demands respect. This is the one most people expect to see, the 44 Magnum. And yes, on paper, it delivers serious energy, high velocity, heavy bullets, strong penetration. It's one of the most powerful, commonly used revolver cartridges. But here's the part that surprises people. Power alone doesn't make it the best choice for every situation, because with that power comes significant recoil. Not just strong, but demanding. In many revolvers, it's difficult to control for extended shooting. Follow-up shots slow down, fatigue sets in faster, and under stress, that matters more than people expect. So while it offers incredible performance, it also requires experience to use effectively. This is where experienced shooters think differently. They don't just look at what a caliber can do. They look at what they can do with it. And that's where the real difference shows up. Deep reality section, what actually matters. Here's something that changes the entire conversation. There is no single deadliest caliber in isolation, because effectiveness depends on barrel length, ammunition type, shooter control, and real-world conditions. A powerful caliber in an uncontrolled shot is less effective than a moderate caliber placed accurately. And this is where expectations and reality separate, because most discussions focus on numbers, not performance. But experienced shooters know performance is what matters. So what are the deadliest revolver calibers? They're not defined by hype. They're not defined by numbers alone. They're defined by how they perform when everything isn't perfect. Each of these calibers offers something different: control, mass, velocity, versatility, but none of them are perfect. And once you understand that, you stop chasing the biggest number. You stop assuming more power is always better, and you start focusing on what actually works for you. Because in the end, the most effective caliber is the one you can use with consistency when it matters most.